Hello again, fans of large Chinese automobiles. I gotta give credit to Twice Diecast. I was watching his channel, and he went over one of these models, and I didn't even know about it. And I've grown to like these random Chinese vehicles. So I went and bought a different color than what Twice Diecast did. So this is by Xcartoys. It is the Shanghai sedan model SH760A. And I'm not sure what this means. This has something to do with Xcartoys. Alright. I don't know if Xcar is a licensed model company or not. Well, anyways, looking at Wikipedia, there's been a few generations of the SH760 series, and this is the second one, it seems. The first one, just called the SH760, came out in 1965. But this particular one we're talking about today came out a bit later. Came out in 1974. And it was produced up until 1989 with around 49,000 units made for this body style, that is. Some funny stuff, though, about the original, and probably this as well. It was originally designed for government officials that weren't really good enough to get one of the FAW Hongqis. So it's like a lower grade government car. And also it was used as a taxi, so that should give you an indication that, they're not really the best top tier government officials if they're driving around in a different colored taxi. Originally built by the Shanghai City Agricultural Machinery Manufacturing Company, which later became STAC in 1969. This car company was actually owned by the city of Shanghai. It wasn't a private company. I mean, this is a communist country, right? Nowadays, it's more of a facade. I'm not sure why I'm showing you that view. It was based on the Mercedes-Benz 220S, or the W180 chassis code from 1954. It had a 2.2-liter straight-six engine making around 90 horsepower, 4-speed manual, and these are all handmade in China. And someone visited and thought it was just a chaotic mess of how they made these, and they had many of the body parts were rusting before they were even painted. But the metal was so thick that it wasn't even an issue. The body would outlast the engine and transmission anyways. So I thought that was kind of funny. Alright, let's look at this model now, and it's quite interesting. This is a metallic. I didn't expect that at all. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, which might be unfair for an Xcartoys, but I like to look at the wheels. They look like hubcap wheels. They're very chromed. There's no air passing or anything like that. But they do look like the side photograph, so gotta give them credit there. There's some sort of raised reflector here, and then this little chrome strip. I don't feel that. That's just on the body. This one does seem raised, though, this lower one. The panel cuts seem to be okay. It seems to be silver actually getting into the crease, though. That's not really realistic. There's like a jacking up point or something here. I see it on the side photograph. The window molding has a ridge painted silver. The door handles are also sticking out painted silver. And then this... that could be a ridge as well for the silver chrome work there. So that's pretty good. This must be the fuel filler. It's got a little silver dot for the lock. Does this have suspension? No, it does not. The tires look okay. They're not totally flat. They have some curvature to them. What's nice is they don't have tread blocks showing on the side so much. They don't look like truck tires. But there actually are treads, and they look old school. Well, we're down here. So it shows, well, this is nice. It tells you it came out in 2022. It tells you the brand in both languages. It tells you the scale. Unfortunately, I'm sure a Chinese person can make out what that is. But it would have been cool if there's some English saying this was the Shanghai Sedan SH760A. Oh well. The exhaust is painted silver, going out to that muffler. There's a little extra flash or molding there. And it's screwed together. Unfortunately, you'd have to take the exhaust off in order to get to that bottom screw. And the tires look appropriately thin for this time frame. The bumpers seem to be separate pieces, chromed plastic. Alright, this side of the car looks alright as well. So the front end. Well, we got some sort of red oval, and then the grille detail is pretty nice. You got some ridges and either black paint or they're really deep. It looks black in there. What is going on with this headlight? Is this just a painted headlight? No. I thought it was just a painted headlight, but I do believe that's a silver backing, and then there's a clear piece of plastic inset here, because the pick is clearly in front of those ridges. I don't hear any ridges either. So it's interesting. It's nice to have clear lenses. And a lot of chrome work painted pretty nice. No complaints there. Even the turn signal, you can see a little bit of silver around the orange, so that's nice. And there's some ribbing in the turn signal. These running lights also look like they have some sort of rib details. And then we have these vents. They're real vents, I think. I think that's literally going into the interior. Alright, top of the hood here. A little dust, a little ridge, my fingerprints. Tiny wiper blades. They do look pretty small in that front photograph I took. That might be realistic. They might just be poorly designed wiper blades. I don't see any sort of rear view mirror though. Going to the back. Whoa, that is a crazy crooked bench seat. And it's so plain on the back. Weird. I feel like the interior might not be placed properly. Alright, so that must be like the logo for maybe Shanghai STAC or whatever, right? Unfortunately, there's nothing for the license plate at all. There's a little box here for the light. Maybe that's a dot for the lock. Some ridges here, painted silver. The taillights, nice red and silver for the backup. I guess they're translucent because, again, I feel like there's depth there. I also feel like I can see some transparent red right there. Yeah, okay. The exhaust tip is just blanked off. Alright, the chrome work going around here is pretty nice. The interior though. So I was magnified 4 times there. It's a little unfair for a car of this price range, but I gotta say this thing's pretty well detailed. I think for it seems to be a good value, except for this rear seat seems really tall. Looking at the rear photo, you wouldn't see the top of the seat. Again, just look at that. Right? It should be flush. So, well, you know what? We're gonna have to see if we can break this open, but I don't know. Let me look. I don't know if this exhaust pipe, if this is a break right here. I think that might be a physical break, maybe. I gotta pry this off, but this toothpick is too thin, so. So there are 2 plastic pins holding that thing in place. I seem to have sheared them off, just brute force. I jammed some tweezers in there and broke them off. So let's see what the inside of this guy looks like. This is a metal base, I think. I could be wrong. We'll find out when I open it. So there's suspension. It's a different way of suspending a car. I've never seen it this way. It's interesting. Just these little round tubes that are... It's not much suspension though. It's not an effective design in my opinion. It seems like an overly complex way to do it as well, because they literally have to screw in these pieces on top of those bars. It's interesting. Alright. But it is a metal base, if that matters to you. Frankly, I'd prefer it to be plastic. Unfortunately, that rear seat is poorly designed. It's just extremely high up. You can see it's bottoming out here. So I don't know why they did that. It is nicely painted though. So we might as well look at the interior details now. So the steering wheel, you know, it's got air going through the spokes. There's some silver buttons, dials, that radio there in the middle. It actually is pretty similar to the photograph I pulled up. Yeah, not bad, not bad. The door panels look pretty good as well. Yeah, it's just that this rear seat is just too high. I'm not a fan. Not a fan at all. I'm wondering, I don't know if I could even modify it, really. Not really. It does seem crooked. There's a little air gap under this side. Yeah, it's weird. You know what, I almost feel like, no, I thought maybe they're the same piece, and that would be why. But see, they shouldn't, the rear seat back should be that high, not this high. If you're going to make a separate piece, why wouldn't you just design it properly? Very strange. I do like that the floor is brown, different color there. Really bothered by this. So I broke away the seat, and it's kind of weird. I'm not sure why they would mold that to be on the bottom side of the seat when basically the bottom edge of the seat is going to level it out. But anyways, I'm going to try to lower this seat. It's going to take some dremeling or cutting away, but let's see what happens here. Pretty much have to lose this thing though. Unfortunately, it's hard to get the clippers in there. Turned on by a crazy accident. So I gotta get a Dremel tool in this thing. This thing is pretty convenient to have as a display rotary tool / sander, but it takes Dremel size bits, the 3mm bits. Strip this tool out. Yeah, I stripped that out. My bad. Whatever. It should still be tight enough. I got one side tight. Probably don't need to make it flush because the seat cushion has to have some height to it, right? So now, you know what? Now that almost looks, it's definitely lower. Maybe it just wasn't glued properly down. I feel if I remove some of this, it'll help clear. See, now the seat backs are almost the same height. It's still a little high though. Let's just do a test fit. So if you're curious, there's the bottom side of the windows. That's a lot of riveting to get those windows in place. Alright, well, the seat doesn't look as high, right? Granted, it's not glued in place properly, but I think that's an improvement. I think essentially if you could get this edge resting on this black, you'd be good to go as far as the proper height of the seat. Yeah, I'm still a little bit too high, I think. No, that makes sense. So all this stuff has to go, but not sure if there's a way to get it pushed back without if you remove too much material here, the seat will cut in half. If you remove too much material there, only it's possible this whole rear lid will break down. Oh. I think that's as good as I'm gonna get it. Yeah, alright. At least it looks kind of level. Alright, so I sanded that down relatively level. Just a mini file. And let's crazy glue that thing back. Just one test fit again. Yeah, I guess that is gonna have to do. I have a feeling it's only gonna be touching around here, not the bottom. That'll work. Let's see, the interior side panels are actually keeping the interior from going in properly. There we go. Alright, that's not as obnoxious, right? Yeah, so I'm okay with that. That's really strange, the suspension system they went with. Ah, boy, that's might have to glue these in place. Okay, put together. It's not as bad as before, at least. Yeah, I just wish they could have designed that better, I think. And for no change in money, right? It just was poorly designed, that back seat, how they put that thing together. So let's look at a few other cars. So before we look at the Chinese cars, let's look at a few other stately vehicles. Here's a green light of what, a Fleetwood series from 1955. Quite a much larger vehicle, actually, being an American car. Here's a Bentley Turbo R from 85 to 97. This is by Kyosho. And then here's a green light again, a Continental convertible from 1965. I put my own wheels on it though. I really wish like someone did one of these classic Continentals as a resin model, not die cast, because I can't stand these opening hoods. And then the Japanese have this thing called the Toyota Century. This is a TLV. This is the second generation Century from 97 to 2017. So actually, this Chinese car is definitely smaller than all these full-size cars. But I guess a Mercedes-Benz 220S or W180 may have not been the largest car of its day from Mercedes. Maybe it's like the equivalent of an E-Class. So let's do the Chinese cars now. So this is the FAW Hongqi CA770, and that's a very stately looking vehicle. I mean, it's huge. It's pretty much like a Chinese limousine, right? Then we have this CA7600. This one is by Time Micro. I think the first one actually might be Xcartoys as well, but it doesn't. Well, you know, on the bottom it came with the non-standard base. And that doesn't help at all, right? That was on the non-standard base. So I don't know who made this first one that I put up here. And the last one is a Hongqi L5. This, I don't know if this is an Xcartoys either. I don't think this came with a standard box or a box at all. And that's why I have it on an Inno64 base. So sadly, I really don't know much about these. I don't understand brands that don't put their name on their products. It's just, I mean, legal pursuits in China, that doesn't happen anyways, right? There's tons of brands making illegally produced models, so it's just weird. Anyways. So anyways, these Hongqis are huge. They're like limousines. Even though they're not, they are. They're like Rolls-Royce Phantom kind of size. And so yeah, it makes sense that this is a taxi and a lower government employee kind of vehicle. I guess they're not employees, right? They're working for the government. Alright, well, it's you know, minus the back seat problem. It's a pretty cool model, and this isn't really expensive. I got this one off AliExpress. Yeah, the Xcartoys is great. Minus the design of this seat, the actual details, the paint work and stuff like that is well done. There's no major blemishes. So I feel it's kind of a waste of money or development costs to have a suspension system though. I would much rather just have a cheaper model or maybe a properly designed rear seat instead of that suspension. But that's just me. Alright, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.